or you can call this an efferent neuron. Either name's acceptable.
The one thing is that the ganglion is closer to the CNS in the sympathetic.
Yeah.
And closer to the tissue in the parasympathetic.
Yeah, it is. You're right.
You
That's
want
more.
emphasis on that?
I don't really put that emphasis on that because that's more of an anatomy thing,
Okay, cool.
and it doesn't have all super bearing on its function. It's just how the anatomy is like. So hopefully you learned that in your anatomy class. But yeah.
Test question.
You probably won't see that as a test question in my
Okay.
physiology class. So yeah, so how motor neurons synapse with a muscle is through these neuromuscular junctions. And so that name should make sense. Neuron, muscular, muscle. So neuromuscular junction, where the two meet. And so where the two meet, these axon terminals right here will create an interface that's called a motor end plate. And so each of these cylinders is a muscle fiber. A muscle fiber is basically a muscle cell. We'll talk about that more Thursday. And so this is kind of what that motor end plate looks like. So here we have our axon terminal, and it interfaces with the cell membrane of the muscle cell here, and it's going to, at this junction here, it's going to release a neurotransmitter that's going to excite the muscle fiber. Sometimes it will be excitation, sometimes it will be inhibition. So if we take a closer look at that here, this is a closer look. So here, this part right here is our axon terminal, and here are all the vesicles holding acetylcholine. They're just waiting there to be released. And here is, all of this is our muscle cell, our muscle fiber. And you can see that along its cell membrane, it has these nicotinic receptors waiting to either get a signal from acetylcholine or not. And so what's going to happen, as you may guess, as this acetylcholine gets released from the axon terminal, it's going to interface with all of these nicotinic receptors. And of course, you'll have some of these enzymes that break down acetylcholine too, but for the most part, it's going to work just like a synapse here. And so what most of these nicotinic receptors are monovalent cation channels. Talked a little bit about this a couple lectures ago. These are ion channels that can let basically monovalent cations, which are basically potassium and sodium, go by. So in this diagram, you can see we have a lot of sodium on the outside, we have a lot of potassium on the inside, and when this receptor gets acetylcholine, the gate opens. So this is an example of a chemically gated ion channel, right? And when it opens, sodium is going to rush in, potassium is going to rush out, and you may think that, oh, well, you're trading positive charge to the outside for a positive charge on the inside, nothing's going to happen to the voltage, but in fact something does change. You notice before you had a whole bunch of minuses here, but now you have a whole bunch of pluses. The muscle cell is going to get depolarized, and that's because there is much more sodium on the outside than there is potassium on the inside. So the net change is there's going to be more positive ions on the inside because there's more sodium rushing into the muscle cell. So that's going to depolarize the muscle cell, and that actually creates, and we'll see, that creates an action potential, and we'll see more about that Thursday. But this creates an action potential, which will cover the whole muscle cell, and that will eventually create a contraction of the muscle cell, this depolarization of the muscle cell here. So that's where I'm going to end today. We have a short lecture today, a really short lecture today. Tuesday we're going to pick up with muscles, which is probably my favorite section. We'll carry on to Tuesday, and what's happening the day after that? What's happening Thursday? Yes, your second exam, hopefully It's not the first time you're hearing that. So hopefully you've been studying, but keep that in mind. Thursday is the next exam, so... No, the next Thursday. So this Thursday is muscles, the following is more muscles, and then the Thursday after that is going to be the second